Alright, welcome back. For those of you that are coming back. Yesterday was a rest day, I guess, or an off day from the gym. So, did some stuff around the house, and that's about it, really. Kind of had a tough time getting sleep after the night shift. Plus, the family was home, and it was a holiday, so I didn't want to waste the whole day sleeping. Anyways, today's back into the gym with upper body. So it's gonna be more probably gonna focus more on isolated isolation exercises, I think is what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna save most of the compound stuff for my push and pull days. So what does that mean for exercises? Probably going to be press machine, row machine, and then, curls, triceps, delts, stuff like that. But first, we got to do cardio. So we're going to do 30 minutes. Cardio, like I talked about the other day. Get that out first, and then upstairs to the weights. What can I talk about today? I did have a topic I was thinking about. There's something I wanted to talk about, but I can't really think about it off the top of my head this moment. I do want to talk a little bit about my experience with my previous med school application stuff and how I'm using that to adjust my current application this month. So maybe after the gym, since we're just pulling up here now, we'll talk a little about what I think worked well for me last time and what didn't, and what I'm going to adjust to reflect that. It's a bit of a difficult process because you don't get much in the way of feedback after your application if it's unsuccessful. The fact that I got to at least interview is a good kind of guideline, I guess, for maybe focusing more on my interview skills, which is why I'm doing this. But I think there's some stuff I can probably adjust a bit on my written application. But that'll be a chat for after. Today's also the first day of school, which means I have to try not to be too long at the gym here so we can get home and get the girls ready. It also means that during the day I'll have a little bit more time now, so hopefully video editing and maybe some extra recording stuff can get done. I was surrounding my med school application stuff, so stay tuned for that. Other than that, let's go do this workout and see how it goes, and I'll see you in a minute. Alright. So a slight deviation from the normal recording that I've been doing. Was running a little late after the gym, so I didn't really have a chance to set up the camera and get the microphone and everything set up, so I kind of skipped the post-gym recording. Had to scoot home and get the kids ready for first day of school, so forewent the after gym recording. Have another little guest with me who's going to be hanging out for most of my day recordings while the girls are at school. So if you hear somebody in the background, that's just my little guy. So gym workout, pretty much did what I planned I was going to do. Chest press on the machine, did some isolated rows on the on the row machine, and then what else? Shoulder press, and then just some dumbbell curls, tricep extensions, and some lateral raises. So pretty much hit all of the upper body I think I wanted to. Tomorrow's going to be compound lower body, so expecting a sore day the next 2 days after that. The nice thing with it being early in the week this week is that I don't have to worry about going back to work till the weekend, so if I do have sore legs, it won't hopefully impede my abilities at work if we have to lift anyone. So I mentioned that I wanted to go over a little bit about my med school application and what I did last year and what I'm going to try and change this year, and hopefully have an improvement or positive results. Yeah. So we got to figure out. So I mentioned in an earlier recording that I know that my previous applications were really emergency medicine forward, and I mean it's kind of to be expected with, you know, a history and a background in paramedicine. I think what I can probably improve on is focusing some of my energy and my interview practice or my interview prep more towards family medicine and what that looks like from my perspective, already being involved in healthcare. Because it's no surprise, really, anyone who's in the healthcare system right now knows that there's a shortage of physicians and more largely like a shortage of family doctors. And it's kind of caused a little bit of a trickle-down effect with, you know, patients that need chronic management aren't able to obtain it just because, you know, they don't have anyone they can go see, or a lot of patients get orphaned, like their doctor retires, and there's either not new doctors that are taking patients, or you know, not as many because they're either specializing in maybe emergency, or they're into sports medicine, or they have other things going on as well. And then the other side of that coin too is there's actually a huge problem with the way healthcare is run in Ontario, is that family medicine isn't really incentivized, and it's really difficult for physicians to kind of operate on the business side of things, because you go through schooling, go through med school, and you kind of learn all the medicine and the body anatomy and, you know, the healthcare part of things. But then there's also that side of, you know, you have to run a business, you know, hiring, you know, admin staff, finances, all that kind of stuff, renting, you know, spaces, which probably isn't really heavily focused on. So I think that's kind of like both sides of that dynamic on why we see, you know, the healthcare situation that we're in right now. So I'm hoping that, you know, through discussing those points and, you know, my background, screwdriver on the road, a little bit of my background with, managing paramedics at my level, and some of my post-secondary education. I took some leadership courses and recruitment, not really business management on its own, but I do have a bit of experience, through family businesses and stuff like that with businessing. So I'm hoping that I can leverage some of that knowledge and inspiration into my interview prep so that, when those questions come up, if they do, I can answer them with more of a focus on family medicine and chronic illness management and stuff like that, as opposed to having all my answers be focused on emergency medicine. That does mean I need to potentially focus on my references as well, because a lot of my referrals from the ages of 16 till now either revolve around workplace or some academic things. Most of my undergraduate was done during COVID, so I don't really have a lot of references from instructors or professors and stuff like that, just because it was really difficult to get a face-to-face rapport with professors in that kind of setting. So that's one thing I got to focus on, but that's kind of where I'm going right now with the application process. It's still kind of in the early stages. The nice thing is, like I said, I have a lot of my previous work saved from my last couple of years. You see the crane, buddy? So some of it's going to be copy and paste, but I think there is opportunities and room for me to enhance or be a little bit more strategic with the information I put in and its relevance or connection to family medicine and my application to school. So I might be able to clip, I'll see if I'm able to, but I'll try and get a clip of kind of my application setup, and I'll share some of that on screen. Obviously I'll have the names and stuff removed, but I can kind of show you a general layout of what I'm working from. Okay. Say bye, buddy.